folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're going to talk about my top 10 favorite memory games. Now, a couple caveats here. First of all, what were we talking about again? That's the only bad joke that I'll make, and get that out of the way. But memory, now a lot of people don't like memory in games, and in fact, on this particular list, I am taking out kids games. Now, I might have a kid game if I think it works well with adults, but this is pointed towards adults because kids have a higher tolerance for memory, mostly because kids do a better job at remembering things than adults do. So these are games that have some sort of memory element in them. Here we go. My number 10 is Dracula. This is a two-player game, and Dracula is running around and hiding things, basically coffins full of his other vampire people who are going to go around, and the player who's playing Van Helsing has to go around and stake them, and they're both trying to remember what the other person has put where. So a little bit of memory. There's a lot of other elements to the game, but memory is one in Dracula. Number 9 is Three Wishes. In Three Wishes, you are to make 3 wishes. One that's like good for mankind, like world peace. One that's good for you. And one's like, I want to be a superhero. So you're trying to get these 3 wishes. And so you're just basically moving cards around the table, taking them, looking at them. And you're trying to remember where cards have moved around the table, which is where the memory element of this game is. This is what we call micro game, a smaller game, but it works well, 3 wishes. Number 8 is Goblet. This is an abstract strategy game in which you have these goblets that go on top of each other. It's a very simple game, trying to get 4 in a row, and you have to move a piece, and you can go on top of another piece with a bigger piece, but if you move a piece off and it makes 4 in a row for the other person, they win. So you have to remember what pieces are underneath the other ones. Number 7, very similar, Quinimid. Quinimid is a game you need to get 5 in a row, and you're placing discs down, rotating boards, or sliding boards. But when you slide a board, you're going to cover up maybe several pieces, and you need to remember what those pieces are as you move them back out. So Goblet and Quinimid, very similar, trying to remember where pieces are, but both a lot of fun. Number 6 is Los Monfos. I don't believe this game ever came out in English version. It looks like a kid's game, and kids like it, but it also works well for adults. In this game, you are feeding donkeys some pieces of basically different colored discs, and then you're moving these donkeys around and trying to remember what each donkey has eaten. And at some point, the donkey is going to poop. You pull up their tail, all the discs fall out, but before you do that, you say, I want all the red ones. And you own, if 3 people pick red, you have to split it. So you're trying to remember how many discs of each color are in there, and then also try to outguess everybody else. A lot of fun. Number 5 is Dream On. This is a party-style game where you're going to be flipping over cards and explaining a dream. It's silly, it's fun. You say, oh, this happens, and everyone's explaining the dream, and then at the end, you turn the pile over, and people have to remember the dream as they go through. But it's not as hard to remember as you might think in this game, because you've used these word pictures. So, oh, that's right. And that's when the lion ran up to us with a toothbrush in its mouth. And then this was the point where Bob was playing, the Copacabana on the piano or whatever. And you remember that, and it just makes for a very fun time. And also silly, creative stuff involved in here. Number 4 for me is Starship Catan. They made this one a little bit later with a sailing motif, but Starship Catan's my favorite. 2-player game, and in the middle there are some piles, and you are just flying through these piles, turning over cards so you find what you want. But it's really important to remember what's in each pile. If I'm going to be trading this resource, that's the pile where the planet is, and so you need to remember what's in each pile. So I like the memory element there. Number 3 is Mamma Mia, or its sequel, Solo Mio, because they're essentially the same game. In this game, you're turning ingredients over onto a pile, different pizza ingredients, and players are playing these ingredients. If at any point you think all the ingredients in that pile match all the ingredients on a pizza, you can play that pizza. Then I have to sit there and go, okay, you played a pizza, so if those are in, those ingredients are out. Which ingredients are left over? Or maybe your pizza didn't have all the ingredients you need, therefore my pizza will work here. It's memory, and like I said, I'm not a huge memory fan, but the memory in this one worked really well. Number 2 is Shadows over Camelot, the card game. Now this is a cooperative game where you're turning over cards and trying to not have your numbers go to a certain target as you flip the different cards over of different types. Have one of the types go to a certain target, but not go too high or not go too low. Here's the problem. One person's a traitor, so they're wanting to mess everybody up. So you're all working together. You say, you remember this, you remember this, you remember this. And so you can remember your one thing. But there are times also in the game where you can't talk. There are all sorts of things that are going to happen. It takes memory and really adds some fun to it. And number 1 for me is Witness. Witness is a game in which it's a 4-player game, exactly 4. Each player has a book, and you pick one of 60-some cases in the book. You all look at it, you're going to read your page, and then you're going to take turns whispering information to the person next to you, who then has to whisper that information to the person next to them, who then whispers the person to the information next to them. So it's whispered down the alley, but you have to remember all these details that people have said, which can get convoluted in the whispering, and then you're all working together to solve the case. Yeah, it's really tricky. It's really fun. It's extremely unique, but I like it. Witness, my favorite memory game. What are your favorite games that involve memory? Memory is certainly something that not a lot of people enjoy in their games. I think it's because it's one of those skills that we tend to lose as we get older and older. But I think that it can be used to great effect. These were 10 games that I really enjoyed in it. Tell me yours in the comments. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching my top 10 favorite memory games.